Okay, I want you to sit with something for a second. You spent years, maybe your whole life, being the person who figured things out. You read more, you thought harder, you stayed later. And honestly, it worked. For a long time, it really worked. So why does someone you once helped with their homework now run a company? Not a rhetorical question. I genuinely want you to feel that for a moment before we move on. Because here's the thing nobody tells you when you're young and smart and praised for it. Intelligence and achievement are not the same currency. They feel like they should be. They really, really feel like they should be. But they're not. And today I want to talk about why. Not to make you feel bad, but because I think if you've ever felt that gap between how capable you know you are and what you've actually built, you deserve an honest explanation. Here's what happens when a smart person sees an opportunity. They don't move. Not yet. First, they think. They build this elaborate mental model, mapping the risks, running the scenarios, calculating the variables, and it genuinely feels like work. Feels like preparation. It feels responsible. But here's what's actually happening. The world isn't a puzzle with fixed walls. It's a living system that changes the moment you touch it. Every day you spend modeling the maze, someone else is already in the maze, hitting a wall, adjusting, hitting another wall, adjusting again. They're not thinking less than you. They're just learning from a different source. You're learning from your own head. They're learning from reality. And the frustrating part? Reality is almost always right. I want to be really clear about something here, because I think a lot of smart people hear you're overthinking it and feel quietly ashamed, like it's a weakness they should have fixed by now. It's not. There's actually a consistent pattern in the research. Higher fluid intelligence tends to correlate with stronger loss aversion, and the reason is almost cruel in its elegance. If you can vividly imagine how something goes wrong, really vividly, your brain treats that imagined scenario with the same neurological weight as a real threat. You're not paralyzed because you're weak. You're paralyzed because you're too good at imagining the worst. The person who acts without overcalculating isn't braver than you. They just can't picture the disaster as clearly. Their lower resolution thinking is, in that specific context, a genuine competitive advantage. They experience a lower psychological cost of entry. They start before the fear arrives. You're still waiting for the fear to leave. Okay, this is the part I really want you to hear. Most high-intelligence people, and I mean this with a lot of respect, have built a significant portion of their identity around one idea. I am the person who figures things out. That identity is load-bearing. It explains every success you've had. It earns you respect in every room you enter. It feels like the most honest and permanent thing about you. But it has a hidden cost. If your value comes from having the right answer, then acting without certainty isn't just risky, it's identity threatening. Starting something imperfect, something that might fail publicly, is producing evidence that you're not as capable as your story about yourself requires. So you don't start. You refine, you research, you prepare a little longer. And the world? This is the painful part. The world just keeps going. This is the actual trap. Not the analysis, not the fear. It's that the exact behavior that protected you for years is now the thing quietly capping your ceiling. So what's the difference between the people who close that gap and the people who don't? It's not a higher IQ. It's not even harder work, really. It's a different relationship with uncertainty. The people who build things, who accumulate output and influence and options, they share one trait that doesn't show up on any test: high agency, which specifically means treating reality as something you shape rather than something you must first completely understand. A high agency person doesn't think the map is perfect. They think the map is always incomplete, and they move anyway. Think of it like this. IQ is the horsepower in an engine. Agency is whether your foot is on the gas. You can have the most powerful engine ever built sitting perfectly still, while someone in a modest car is already 3 exits ahead of you. These aren't motivational. I'm not here to pump you up. These are structural changes to how you make decisions. Move 1. The 70% threshold. If you have 70% of the information you'd need to act, act. The last 30% almost never changes the right first move. It only changes how comfortable you feel making it. Waiting for complete information is procrastination with a credential. Move 2. Engineer a smaller bet. Your brain's fear response scales with perceived stakes, so shrink the stakes until the response doesn't fire. You don't launch a company, you launch a waitlist page. You don't publish a book, you publish a thread. When the cost of being wrong is genuinely small, your brain will let you move. Move 3. Replace the identity. Stop measuring yourself by the quality of your thinking. Start measuring yourself by the volume of honest attempts. The highest agency people you know don't pride themselves on being right. They pride themselves on moving fast enough to find out. The shift is from "I'm the smartest person in the room" to "I'm the person who ships." Intelligence isn't the problem. The story you've built around your intelligence, that's the problem. The maze isn't sitting there waiting for you to solve it on paper first. It's waiting for you to enter it, to get it wrong a few times in ways that cost almost nothing, to discover, gradually, that the walls you were most afraid of were imaginary. The person who outperforms you this year probably isn't smarter than you. They're just less invested in being careful. Stop optimizing. Start entering. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video.